edition of Burgers and Fries, as we are basically 1 month away from the 2024 election. So, over the years on this channel, even going as far back as 2016, we've had our political discussions. And if you, the listener, have remembered all those talks and have gone back on those episodes, then you understand that there's always been one underlying theme with how a certain person votes despite the information presented to him and the political topics he actually believes in versus who he votes for. And he's in this podcast, so he knows I'm talking about him.
That's right.
So here's the thing. Being a mature adult means allowing yourself to change your stance and even your beliefs when new information gets presented that completely proves the former facts to be incorrect. Plus, it also means admitting a mistake and vowing to never do that same thing again. So if you continue to double down and refuse to change your approach and your stance because your feelings, then you're just being an idiot. Right, Greg?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right, Pat?
Yep.
So now that I've laid that out there, let's begin the shit show talk about Donald Trump versus Kamala. So we're talking about the convicted felon who says mean things on Twitter versus the cackling, laughing hyena who refuses to answer simple questions thrown at her. Instead of this going over, let's talk about policies, let's talk about stances like abortion and immigration, all that shit. We already know that Tony is for more secure borders, that he doesn't feel that strong about abortion. He doesn't like that there's a bunch of new wars going on. He doesn't stand for gender affirming care for minors. He doesn't believe in all that shit. So it's really just going to be a matter this time of, well, voting for the lesser of two evils and why one person is worse than the other.
I think that you should just get two totally different people who are much younger and more experienced and are fresh. That's what they should have done.
Well, we already agreed with that part, but still, we are stuck with Trump versus Kamala. I'm just going to ask once more who you voted for and who they're planning on voting for this upcoming cycle. So starting with you, Greg, who'd you vote for?
Trump.
And you're planning on voting for Trump again this cycle?
Yep.
Okay, Pat.
Trump.
And same?
Yes.
All right.
And
Tony?
Especially because
I voted for Biden in 2020.
Right, and you voted for Hillary in 2016, and you voted for Obama in 2012, correct?
Right, correct.
You consider yourself a vote blue no matter who?
Correct.
Why do you justify being a vote blue no matter who?
I don't like Trump or any of those people.
Same fucking arguments that you've been saying for the last 8 years.
Yes, I know.
Tony, you know that Barack Obama did more of the racist stuff than Trump did, right?
No, I did not know that. No.
Give me a reason besides you just don't like Republicans why you're a vote blue no matter who. What have the Democrats been standing for that you actually do agree with?
I like that they want to raise the minimum wage to give us more money. I like that because, no one should have to live on poverty. We're getting
you've said that before, Tony, raising the minimum wage. Even though we warned you, you do that, it makes everything cost more.
It did.
Yes.
So was that really a good thing to stand on?
No.
And is there anything else?
They're for everybody. The Republicans,
no, they're not.
Trump, only favor to the rich people.
Where did Trump ever say that?
I heard somebody tell me that. My buddy who was a Democrat said he's heard stuff too, and he showed me proof.
He showed you proof. How did he show you proof? What did he show?
An article.
An article written by who?
I forget the name. It was in the year 2018 when he sent it to me.
So he just showed you some opinionated piece. Did they actually show a clip of Donald Trump actually saying it?
No.
So that's not exactly proof. So your friend's an idiot. Once again, I mean, this upcoming election cycle has felt like something scripted out of a WWE premium live event. That's what it feels like, to be honest. Now, I have to ask you, Tony, did you have an issue with Trump when he was on The Apprentice?
I never saw it, so I have no opinion.
Did you have an issue with Trump when he made all those appearances in World Wrestling Entertainment?
I didn't even know much about him, so I did not have a problem with him because my brother and I used to watch wrestling all the time.
Okay. Did you have an issue with him when he cameoed in Home Alone 2?
No, I did not have a problem with him in Home Alone 2.
Okay. So you only had a problem with Trump as soon as he ran against Hillary Clinton as a Republican, even though up until then he was a lifelong Democrat. You realize that, right?
No, I did not know that.
He at one point was friends with the Clintons, but obviously when he wanted to get his way into politics, he had to go through the Republican avenue instead of the Democrat avenue. And then all of a sudden, because he ran as a Republican, everybody hated him. Now all of a sudden he's Hitler. Now all of a sudden the media says he's a threat to democracy. You're basically admitting that you started having problems with Trump as soon as he ran against Hillary
Right.
because of what the media said.
And I didn't like that my parents were praising him.
Oh,
either.
and there it is. You had to bring that up too.
Well, you want me to be honest?
That's being honest, but that's also like, holy shit, dude. How do you not see that that's one of the stupidest reasons to vote against someone?
I see it, but
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah,
You've
you
been
said you
proudly.
weren't gonna get mad.
Oh, no. I never said I wasn't going to get mad. I never said I was going to be nice this time, Tony. I never said that. Did I ever say that, guys?
Nope.
Nope. You're on your own, Tony.
Why have you
What?
been proudly saying, oh, anything to get back at my parents?
Because the way they were on me about my job situation.
You're
they saying that
30
Trump was
fucking
the-
6! Oh my god, my parents are getting on me over a job situation, even though I'm a grown man in my 30s who needs to grow the fuck up. Good god, Tony. What is wrong with you? Okay, so let's move on to what happened on the Trump side in this WWE Premium Live events. And then you remember how we did a podcast on this where he got convicted on 34 counts related to the hush money scandal, where they turned falsifying
Oh, yeah,
business
sorry.
records into an election meddling thing. And again, we already did a podcast episode on it. And what did I prove to you in that podcast, Tony?
that it was phony.
Uh-huh. You're admitting it, that trial was a sham and it was phony?
Yes, but I didn't care because I didn't want him to run again.
And that's the other thing. I found out about the guilty verdict because you were fucking celebrating and you're like, yeah, today's a great day. I'm pulling out the champagne. Donald Trump can't be president. And I'm like, moron. Yes, he can. So then, of course, you remember that debate where Donald Trump had that debate with Joe Biden in June. Remember that debate?
Yep.
Yeah, I was freaking out because of what happened with Biden and that.
You were actually freaking out, even though you were telling me, oh, no, Joe Biden can still win. You were doubling down on it.
I wanted to believe that people would still support him, and ever since he turned down after all the negativity he got.
No, let's be honest. He didn't turn down. He was forced out. His poll numbers were abysmal. They were already abysmal before that debate, but once they figured out that, oh, Joe Biden really can't speak a complete sentence. He's too fucking old at this point. He's not fit to be the leader of the free world. You have to be that bad at your job if you're considering voting for a convicted felon at that point.
And Tony, you know that Biden has a reputation of being a child molester, right?
That's debatable, but
It's debatable. We don't know for sure. It's debatable because like people can make stuff up about anybody these days.
kind of like how Kamala makes stuff up about Trump in the fucking debate on national TV and never got fact-checked for it. We had assassination attempt number 1 by some pimple-faced dipshit. But remember who was quoted as being, as we need to put Trump in the bullseye? Remember who said that?
Yeah, Biden.
Mhm.
Yep.
I didn't hear that part.
You can look it up.
Yeah, don't you ever watch the news?
Again, what was the media constantly calling Trump, Greg or Pat?
A Nazi.
That,
Yeah.
and what's another thing they always call him? What? A blank to democracy.
A threat to
A threat to
democracy.
But when Trump got a bad case of a bullet in the ear, suddenly everybody was all kumbaya. Well, then, if that's the case, then he's not the threat to democracy they said he was, right?
Yep.
Right, Tony? Or is Donald Trump a threat to democracy, like you fucking media cronies say?
I don't know if I should say it.
Is he a threat to democracy?
Yes
Where-
and no.
Why
Yes
is he a
and no.
threat to? If he's a threat to democracy, then why do you say, "Oh no, don't shoot him"?
Because I may not like the guy. I wouldn't want someone to want to shoot him or anything like that.
Then he's
Right.
obviously not a threat. And of course, there was another attempt in September by some leftist loony. Now we're going to go over the Joe Biden Kamala Harris side. Remember, prior to all this, what did we have a record horrible what?
Inflation.
Uh-huh. So yeah, oh yeah, we raised our wage to $15 an hour, but the expenses went up further. So your $15 doesn't mean shit. And
Indeed.
again, in a prior podcast, who did we discuss whose policies were causing the inflation?
The Biden-Harris administration.
Are we wrong, Tony?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
And you still decide you want to vote for them. Even though they're the ones who caused the inflation partially. But also, remember how the administration has had a horrible foreign policy. They oversaw a major botch in withdrawing troops from Afghanistan and leaving billions worth in valuable military equipment in the hands of the enemy. Oh, we'd really suck if that enemy used that equipment against our allies like Israel, right?
Yeah.
Two major new wars got started. You got the Ukraine-Russia war. At the end of the day, we're basically trying to show who is worse. Who's a worse person, who's a worse politician, who has worse policies. Therefore, who is the lesser of two evils?
Well, what are you gonna do if Kamala wins? What are you gonna do if she wins?
I'm going to end the Burgers and Fries podcast on this channel. That's what I'm going to do.
You're gonna end the whole thing. We're not gonna talk about anything else.
There will be no more Burgers and Fries on this channel. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Why? Just because Kamala wins?
I'm placing a bet.
Oh, I thought you were serious.
No, I'm definitely serious. If Kamala wins, there's no Burgers and Fries on this channel anymore.
So that means we can't even do Burgers and Fries podcast on other topics like Nickelodeon and all them and stuff, like our TV
That's
shows. And stuff.
exactly what that means. There will be no Burgers and Fries podcast episodes being recorded anymore on this channel if Kamala wins. You ask me what am I going to do? That's what I'm going to do.
All right.
And by the way, guys, who did more government spending, Trump or Biden, and the Harris administration?
Biden, Harris.
I would say Biden-Harris, yeah.
Are we wrong, Tony?
Biden Harris.
Okay. Is government spending a good thing or is government spending a bad thing, Tony?
It's bad because the government controls what we can buy and everything. If that's the case.
Oh, that's not the government that I want to live in. You don't want to live in a communist government that controls all means of productions, right?
It seems like that's what they're trying to aim for because we're in cahoots with China or something like that now. It seems like that's what they're trying to do.
Yes, and what political side is more for that?
All right, it's the Democrats, okay? It's the Democrats. Okay, you get the picture. Now everyone can stop getting mad at me.
Oh boy, and we're just scratching the surface here, dude. Their administration has led to a terrible immigration policy. Remember that podcast episode, Tony, where we talked about how terrible their immigration policy was?
Yeah, because all these people are coming in not knowing our language and everything like that, and they want us to learn our language. I admit I don't like that because but because they're using freaking Google Translator to get by and everything. It's like I'm thinking
Okay.
you're in our
voted for a guy that allowed for it to happen.
Pat said it right there.
I mean, come on, man.
This is fucking hilarious in a really sad way. We did a podcast on it. You even admitted that Biden's policies were to blame, and yet you still wanted to vote for him.
I haven't voted yet, just letting you know.
That'll do us a favor. Don't vote for her. I'm not saying vote for Trump, but don't vote for Kamala.
What if I vote third party? Is that going to be an issue?
No. Kamala was vice president during all this bullshit. And there's other stuff that we're going to be digging up later that's going to basically be like, why would you vote for this bitch? But anyway, all of that quote unquote woke stuff that's happening in schools. You don't like that shit either.
No, I don't like it because no one should be taught to be gay or something like that at that young of an age. Because you want to know why? It's happening to my niece. My niece doesn't even consider herself a she or her. She refers to herself as this or that because she dresses like a male and female at the same time, with short hair and the short shorts and like tank and like a flannel short sleeve shirt. I will admit I don't like that because my niece was a girl, not a this or that. I'll admit that.
Okay. And what administration supported that?
I was the Biden administration, and I don't agree with them on that. I will admit I do not agree with
You
them on
don't
that.
agree with them on immigration. You don't agree with them on the quote unquote woke stuff, like that you're just been experiencing. You don't like the administration's illegal immigration policies. You don't like the national debt getting added to far more than Trump did. You don't like their horrible foreign policy. You don't like them sending all that foreign aid and funding all these proxy wars. You also hate the inflation. You don't like paying $10 for 2 McChickens and a medium fry. And you still want to vote for those assholes.
Maybe I'll vote third party this election.
You better. Why would you vote for the same people? Oh, you have cackling Kamala going, oh, yeah, I'll fix all the problems that we did. Really? Why couldn't she do that the last 3 years? It's not like she wasn't vice president or anything. I'll fix all the problems that my administration caused. Tony, it's like you have a coworker at Walgreens that you hire, constantly weasels her way out of doing her job and blah, blah, blah. Things at your store get worse. All of a sudden, things are getting more expensive at your store, and she's not doing anything to help reduce the cost. Would you consider hiring that employee after her contract expired?
No, I would fire her and let her go because she's not doing anything for the store. And it's making the store look bad.
So name something that Kamala has done for the country.
Nothing.
So you'd fucking fire Kamala instead of hire her.
Right.
So why would you vote for her?
I just don't want Trump to win.
Because, anything to get back at my parents.
No, I'll vote third party. But it doesn't mean I still like him.
You don't have to like Trump. I don't like Trump. Even if I'm voting for him, I still don't like him. I remember when the Trump-Kamala debate happened and you were like singing Kamala's praises. Like, oh yeah, she has my vote for now for sure. I mean, what else about Kamala did you like?
Nothing else?
Really? There's nothing else about Kamala. You just only liked her because she's not Trump.
Yes. You want me to be honest? That's honesty.
I thought maybe it was because she's a woman.
Well, I think it'd be cool to have a female president, even though people say having a female president would be bad. But there are certain countries that have had female presidents and they've done fine. Like Argentina had Christina Kirchner.
I would love a female president. I just wish it wasn't Kamala. But when you're singing all of her praises, what did I call you out on, Tony? I called you out on how she even answered questions.
I remember that because I was looking at my Discord.
And I basically showed you that, all right, like you want to criticize Donald Trump for acting mean in the debates, all right? They were literally lying to Trump to his face about things that he said and done. Like, would you feel pissed off if we just lied to you about things you said and done?
Yes, I would be lied. I mean,
hey guys, did you know that Tony has a membership for NAMBLA? Greg,
Yeah,
it's proven he has a membership for NAMBLA. Isn't that confirmed?
Yeah, I'd be pissed off because it's lies.
Imagine if you have Kamala and two moderators saying that to you on national TV, and you know they're lying to you. It's a 3-on-1 WWE handicap match. It's fun when you get to play on the 3-on-1 side on the PlayStation 2, but it's definitely not fun when you're the 1 versus 3 in that mode. You know
Yes,
that.
I have. Yes, I do not like those modes because it seems like it's unfair. It's unfair because one of you against 3 of them.
That was the fucking debate. I am once again going to ask you, Tony. Name something Kamala has accomplished.
I don't know.
Okay. Name a policy that she said she'll implement when she gets elected.
I haven't been following a wing it lately, so I don't know.
Well, then why would you vote for her? You don't like Trump. That's not a good reason.
Well, people who didn't like John McCain voted for Obama.
That was then. That was 2008. Obama at that time, he was charismatic. He actually had a plan that he said he would do. He got a lot of people excited to vote. I see Donald Trump getting people excited to vote. I don't see Kamala doing the same thing at the same scale Donald Trump is doing.
It's like that Simpsons episode when Sideshow Bob won the mayoral election. Bart and Lisa had to investigate to find out if he really won fair and square, only to find that most of the votes Sideshow Bob got was like from dead people. Well,
And that's a
probably
common
what's
joke
happening
nowadays.
with Kamala Harris is she's not necessarily getting votes from everybody, as it's mostly dead people and illegal aliens.
Debatable. Now, here's the other thing about the thing that happened when Kamala got installed. You're saying, Tony, that the Democrats, they represent democracy, right? That's what you believe in, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Tony, did people vote for Kamala to be the presidential nominee
They voted for Biden.
in 2020? That's correct. That's a concrete fact. No dispute there. But did people vote for Kamala to be the 2024 presidential nominee?
No.
Okay. Someone who was the least popular vice president in history, someone who was part of an administration that had the lowest approval rating in history, someone who never even made it to the ballots in the 2020 primaries that nominated Biden and was obviously named Biden's VP pick for the sake of DEI. For people who called Trump a threat to democracy and claimed their side represents it, how are you not bugged by the way Kamala was installed as the presidential nominee?
How did she even get installed exactly? Just because she's a woman?
She got installed by some delegate group. No everyday voter voted for her to be the candidate. So how are you not bugged by this?
I don't know. I guess I didn't really pay much attention to it.
Of course you didn't. Like a lot of the other Kamala voters, they don't pay attention to that shit because the ends justify the means. And that's the kind of person that Kamala is. She's an ends justify the means type of a person.
Yeah, like I got some facts here about Kamala Harris's pro-crime agenda. First one being is she supports defunding the police. Second, bailed out violent criminals. 3, pushes for gun confiscation. And 4, supported defunding ICE. And finally, treats law-abiding citizens as criminals.
You mean like the time where she got a single black mother arrested?
Yes, sort of like that.
This is all stuff that she was doing when she was district attorney and then attorney general back when she was in San Francisco and then working for California. And then, okay, again, she was said to oppose criminal justice reforms. And what's worse is that she upheld wrongful convictions that had been secured through misconduct via evidence tampering, false testimony, and suppressing crucial information. Do you want me to say that in English, Tony?
If you must.
In other words, I'm going to say this in normal English. It was demonstrated that corrupt police tampered with evidence, lied on the stand, hid evidence from the defense, which is illegal, by the way, and Kamala sided with that when she was district attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that.
Of course you didn't.
You
When
do
she was
now.
yeah, you do now. When she was part of the justice system in San Francisco and later the entire state of California, she's clearly all about getting as many convictions by any means necessary for her own gain, regardless if the people wrongfully convicted or not. What's the word that we call that when a person of power fucks over someone who is completely innocent for their own gain? What do we call that again?
Dictator?
Yep.
Starts with a C.
Communist?
The other word.
A cunt?
I just said that.
I only heard Greg say it, but corrupt.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh my goodness. Why any minority person would consider voting for her is like a sheep voting for the wolf in sheep's clothing. Kamala, during her time as a prosecutor, kept innocent men in prison for far longer than they should have been, especially those for minor offenses like having a fucking bag of weed. So, Tony, based on the track record alone, prior to her time as a senator and then vice president, would you vote for her?
I'll vote third party.
Tony, under no circumstance should anyone vote for this reprehensible piece of pig shit. And let's go over the things that she did as California senator and as vice president. When Trump was still president and trying to ramp up deportation of illegals, okay, Greg already just mentioned it. Kamala, as senator, introduced a bill that would have taken over $200 million away from ICE. Would you have supported that?
No, because we don't want felons like that in our country.
Good. And of course, Going from a corrupt prosecutor to a senator who supported the whole defund the police bullshit when that was a thing during the George Floyd protest.
Yeah, that people still talk about that to this day for some reason.
Because
She
they're a bunch of
supported all that shit, Tony.
And that
Yeah,
was
the-
like the whole reason why a lot of white actors or actresses left their certain roles in shows because of that.
So
Like Hank Azaria leaving the role of Apu because of his character being found racist, and because it had to do with the George Floyd protest, and Mike Henry leaving Cleveland Brown on Family Guy.
well, speaking of the George Floyd riots in Minnesota, Greg, who was the governor that let his cities burn down because he claimed to support the cause?
Tiny Timmy.
Tim
That's
Walz.
what we're calling him, huh?
That's right. Tim fucking Walz. The same asshole. Isn't he Kamala's vice president pick, by the way?
Yes.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So the
Uh-huh.
governor that lives in Greg's home state actually became Kamala's vice president pick.
The same one who delayed on deploying the National Guard to restore order and preferred to let his cities burn down because he claimed to support the cause. You know what else they support? They support late-term abortions for up to 9 months, and they support gender-affirming care for minors. Both things you don't believe in, as you just testified about your niece. Poor thing.
What the fuck?
Yes, he was only 14.
Kamala supports
15, I mean.
that.
Yep.
Hey, I agree with you guys.
So here's another thing. Greg kind of mentioned it earlier. Who was it that helped encourage funds to help bail out all the violent criminals, murders, and rapists who got arrested during those riots in Minnesota?
Kamala fucking Harris.
That's right. As senator, the last years before she got elected as vice president, before she proceeded to do fuck all, this is not somebody you should be voting for, Tony.
Well, you know why they're letting all those people out, right?
So they can go murder again, which is what they did.
No, so they could vote for her.
You're telling me, Tony, that Trump is worse than all of the things that I just brought up.
I think they're both equally bad.
No. How is Trump equally bad? Give me a reason why Trump is equally bad after all of the shit that Kamala has done that I brought up.
Because
How is
he's an
Trump
asshole.
equally bad? No. Because he's an asshole. Well, Kamala's a
Yeah,
cunt. I've given you
calm
all
down,
this other.
dude.
No.
Calm down.
Shut up. I've given you all this fucking things, all these facts that show why Kamala is a fucking corrupt piece of pig shit. And you're telling me Trump is equally just as bad.
Well, he's an asshole. Can't keep his mouth shut. Can't take
That's
criticism.
not
Throws a fit,
what
throws a
makes him
fit when-
equally bad. Give me something that he did as president that was bad.
Well, he got rid of net neutrality. That's one thing he got rid of. And one of my best friends admitted he got rid of net neutrality.
And what did that do? That did nothing.
Yeah, but still.
How is that worse than keeping innocent men in prison and supporting defunding the police and letting out violent criminals to go commit murder again? How is that worse?
It's not.
So give me something that shows how Donald Trump is worse.
I just don't like the guy in general. He's a sore loser, a big baby. He can't take criticism.
So was Hillary
He's
fucking Clinton and all of her voters in 2016. Not my president.
Yeah, well, and don't forget about the January 6th thing, how they stormed the White
Oh.
House.
Oh, brother.
Okay,
forget
and you're
that.
still going on about that. Did Donald Trump
Please
tell
explain
those people to storm the Capitol?
No, but
Questions.
the supporters did it themselves.
His supporters, okay, there were people there. Some of them participated in some violence. But what do all of the other security footage show, Greg?
They were let into the building.
Peacefully.
Yep.
They were let in. They were practically put on a tour of the building. They weren't, so there were some people there that thought, oh yeah, let's stir shit up. But most people there were there to protest. And some of them got inside the building to protest peacefully. And they were just shown praying. How is that fucking worse than what Kamala Harris has done?
It's not Trump's fault that happened, but still his supporters. couldn't
Bingo.
take-
So how is Trump worse?
He's not.
Okay?
You're gonna yell at me?
It's one thing if you're voting for Kamala because you feel strongly for abortion, which you don't. Or if you can think of a policy that she promises will implement, you can't think of a single policy. But for the past 8 years, Tony, I've been asking you to name a policy from Biden that worked, and you just kept blaming Trump. And I once again ask you to name something that Kamala has accomplished, or name a policy of hers, and you fucking can't. Despite me giving you plenty of time to do your own goddamn research. For 8 fucking years, we've been talking politics. You have refused to change your stances when new information gets presented to you. You have continuously doubled down on certain politicians because they have a fucking D next to their name. And even as I've given you straight facts on why these people do not believe nor stand for the same things you actually believe in, you just continue to keep, nah, I just don't like Republicans. I don't like Trump. I need to get back at my parents, which you've admitted multiple times, including this fucking podcast. Are you in fucking high school, Tony?
No, I'm not in high school.
Tony, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I just admitted it to you, dude, that he's not worth, okay? Give me a
Okay,
break.
well,
Admitted to
were,
you.
think this
were you
changes.
sniffing shit?
No, I don't smoke.
Were you
I don't
on
do-
meth?
No, I never done
Were
any
you on
drugs in my life.
mushrooms?
No, I never done
Were you
any of
on
that stuff.
crack?
No.
What was
I don't
wrong
know.
with you then?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a stupid dumbass. Did you think of that?
Yes. Now you're admitting you're a stupid dumbass.
That was supposed
So-
to be sympathy.
No, that's not sympathy, dude. You can admit that you have a problem. You're finally, even as in this podcast, you're finally saying, oh, maybe I'll just vote third party, which is better than voting for Kamala. But still, why did it take you 8 years to do this? Even though
Because
I've been nice about it the last 7 years, why did it finally have to take me yelling at you to finally say, okay, I won't vote for Kamala?
Because maybe, I don't know. I don't know why.
The thing is, Tony, you've managed to be the same immature person I've known for 8 years and have not grown up at all. And not to
Well,
mention the
fuck.
other stuff with your personal life that I'm not going to go over it, but you've managed to regress even more.
Well,
And
I'm
that's
sorry
why,
it
and it's
bothered you.
reflective on who you continue to vote for. If you
Are you
continue to vote for Kamala, then yes, you're going to continue being an empty-headed dumb fuck.
You're gonna make me look bad, you know?
I've been making you look bad for 8 years, Tony. Thing is, Tony, this is not voting for the 5th grade table leader in elementary school. This is in 1999 where we're ready to go home and play with our PlayStation 1 and go stroke ourselves. It's the leader of the free fucking world. So you want to start acting like a 36-year-old?
Yeah.
Are you going to vote for Kamala?
No.
Are you fucking serious?
I'll vote third party.
Very
What do you want
well.
me- What do you want me to say?
As long as you're serious and genuine, fine. But if Kamala fucking wins, you already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but that's not gonna be my fault if she wins.
There's a lot of other people like you, and if you're listening to this, folks, your vote counts just as much as Tony's. If you're hearing what Tony's been saying, and you realize there's a lot of people with that same mentality that they're just voting for Kamala because of bullshit reasons, then you need to get out and vote too. So you can vote for the candidate that you support. With that said, the diner is closed, and it might be closed for good. I'm Desert Cow 22. Thanks for listening.